Does it have a nice design? Does it have
great design.
Stars and stripes?
It's red and white. It's a white shirt with red flowers all over it.
Wow.
And I had my bright blue sandals, my black swim trunks. I was ready for the 4th.
Wow, that's a lot of fun. Then you went to Rockaway Beach.
I went to Rockaway Beach. Also got a pretty gnarly burn.
Yeah.
But just burnt enough that I think it'll settle into a real nice tan.
I think it's already kind of a tan.
Yeah, it's settling,
It's settling.
You want to get a little burnt. That's what people...
Yeah.
Just slightly.
I get
it's the only way to...
extremely burnt.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
My pale pasty
We got on the
white
ferry, and I forgot to put sunscreen on until the ferry got to Rockaway Beach. And I was like, man, I'm really hot. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And then I was lectured for a while.
Oh, by the lady?
Yeah.
They love to lecture.
Yeah, well, let's cut this out.
No, but so I walked around. I went to the bookstore and then I went to Old Navy. So I was at probably about 2 hours in the blazing hot sun.
God.
And then I woke up today. I don't know if you could see this, Joe. I got like weird red dots.
Well,
on my
that's
arm.
kind of how mine. Oh, you have some real dots there, yeah.
Yeah.
Mine looked kind of like that at first.
So
it was all dots.
I looked it up. Never look up anything online because it's always cancer.
It's always cancer. Yeah, you have cancer.
Yeah,
And you're gonna die.
And you should worry.
You should worry. And quite frankly, you have about 6 months to live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time, like I had the ear thing for a while,
Yeah.
and they go, "Well, it could be Meniere's disease." And I go, "Oh my God, what's Meniere's disease?"
Yeah.
And a complete loss of hearing.
Oh God.
Jesus Christ.
Wow. It's always the worst thing.
But it turns out it was nothing. Went to the doctor, and they go,
Yeah, it'll go away. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That'll be $500.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. No, they said leukemia. But then I was thinking, you never hear of an adult. You never hear of an adult with leukemia. It's always a kid's
I have.
disease. Oh, really?
And I knew a guy that I used to work with at Legoland.
Really?
And I've told you the story, I think. But he was a few years younger than me.
Yeah.
Around COVID, we shut down. He got leukemia. And like he got it like right when we were closing down for like a few months.
Yeah.
And then we reopened a few months later, and he wasn't there.
Oh.
And he visited like once, and then he passed away.
Oh.
And this guy was not a fan of my work at Legoland.
He didn't like your designs.
He liked the last guy before me. And he would talk a little smack on some of my designs, some of my models and stuff. And word got back to me, and I was fine. I was an adult about it. I was like, what am I going to, what do I care?
Right.
But after he passed away, and I don't really know if they should go on the podcast either. Maybe I can.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. His
we don't say his name or anything.
We're not going to say his name. His parents asked if I could build his urn.
Yeah.
Out of Legos.
Yeah.
Because he was such a big Lego fan.
Right.
And of course you can't say no.
Yeah.
So I made an urn when his remains are in there indefinitely. And
you made an urn for a guy that hates your fucking guts.
Well, no, he hates my Lego models specifically.
Yeah, hates your work.
And now his remains are eternally inside of one of my models forever.
So who got the last laugh?
Yeah, I felt like Eric Cartman, where he made the kid whatever, fed his parents to him.
Yeah,
that's how. Like, I didn't mean for any of this to happen, but it's like it is crazy. This guy hates my work, and now his remains are eternally enshrined inside of one of my Lego models.
I don't want to speak for you, but it's got to feel kind of good.
It felt kind of good, yeah. It just goes to show you never talk shit.
Right, exactly.
Because you could...
And we never talk shit on this podcast.
No.
We never have. We never will.
Your remains could end up inside of a Lego model of a designer you don't care for.
Yeah. So. Wait, so that's why we never talk shit on the podcast? No, this is terrible.
And he was a beautiful person, and... it was a tragedy, but...
we never talk shit. The Hawk-Tua girl won't spit on our graves. So anyway, Joe, would you like to explain? You don't want to.
That's all right. Yeah, it could fly. It could ride. I'd love to explain the podcast. This is the Echo Chamber podcast with Joe and Trent, the only podcast where two comedians read the Wall Street Journal because one of us gets it for free from work. And Trent, give us a little rundown on what we're going to be hearing today.
Well, Joe, I would love nothing more to give you a rundown. The debate. It's probably been a couple weeks now by the time this comes out.
True.
But voters in swing states are weighing in.
Oh, God. Be interested to hear what they have to say.
Cover about 3 people what they thought about the debate.
Well, we'll also hear about the immunity ruling.
Oh, boy.
With Trump. What does it mean? We'll find out. I didn't really know, to be honest. So I think this is informative. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out.
And boy, is it pretty scary.
It's pretty scary. And I only have 2 this week.
So I'll probably start with that.
Yeah. So then my final story for me, there's not enough babies. People aren't having children anymore.
Well, you know,
and apparently that's a bad thing.
Although I can't really explain to me why.
Yeah.
Well, we'll also hear about a place that has a lot of babies, Mexico.
Yeah.
It's the wild country to the south.
Oh,
we'll hear about their president, their departing president, his long goodbye.
Goodbye.
And it might be a longer goodbye than one might guess.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, looks like fascism is coming for all of North America, except for those pussyfooters up in Canada. I mean, come on. But Justin Trudeau, I mean, how can you make him immutable? And our last story, we'll also hear about, and this is really shocking to me, Armani bags, the luxury bags.
Yes, I'm familiar with Armani.
They exploited cheap labor. To make
you think you know somebody
to drive up their profits.
Oh my God!
This is really not what they stand for.
I can't imagine doing such a thing.
Yeah, so that'll be our final story. But first, we are going to hear about the immunity ruling from the Supreme Court that was last week. It'll be a few weeks ago by the time this comes out. But people still probably won't know what the consequences of it are. So we're going to go through that here.
All right.
And this is from the Wall Street Journal.
Uh-huh.
Well, Trent, the Supreme Court gave former President Donald Trump a sweeping amount of protection against criminal prosecution, ruling that a president can't be charged for doing the job as outlined in the Constitution and has the presumption of immunity for other actions he takes while in office. In its decision in Trump versus the United States, which will no doubtly be the name of a movie in the next 2 years, however, the court said a president can be prosecuted for unofficial acts, and in Trump's case related to the 2020 election, the trial judge must now sort out what constitutes official and private conduct. So the one question, why did the Supreme Court grant immunity?
Well, he stacked the court.
Well, he did stack. That's the real answer. Well, here's what they said. The court said a president needs broad protection so he can, quote, execute the duties of the office fearlessly and fairly, and so that his decision-making isn't distorted by the threat of prosecution. Which is,
you'd hate.
You'd hate for someone to be worried about being prosecuted while controlling the free world.
Right.
Criminally prosecuting a president for an official act would intrude on the executive authority he has under the Constitution's separation of powers, the court said. The court ruled 6-3 with Chief Justice John Roberts writing for the majority and Justice Sonia Sotomayor writing a fiery dissent.
Yes.
Quote, it allows him to operate without looking over his shoulder or hearing footsteps every time he does so, said Stan Brand, a former counsel to the White House. To the House, who has represented several of Trump's associates. So their logic is you'd hate for a president to be worried.
To have a conscience.
Or to worry for, is anything bad going to happen to me if I jail my opponents?
Yeah.
So now they can do that without worrying about it.
Right. But I guess, I mean, this now it's in writing, I suppose. But wasn't that always kind of the case? You could kind of do whatever you want.
I guess it was never really outlined because no one's ever charged a former president with anything.
Right.
And so it's always been vaguely. There's just been things in our Constitution. If they never come up, then no one really knows until they do come up and they go to the court.
Yeah.
And then they have to decide what they think that means.
Right.
So you might be asking yourself, what's the difference between an official and unofficial act?
That I was asking myself that.
Good news. It's a little murky.
The whole article is just we don't know. It's complicated and we don't know.
It's complicating. This is from the guy this is from John Roberts.
Chief Justice John Roberts.
Justice. Distinguishing the president's official actions from his unofficial ones can be difficult. Then why is like I don't understand how you're saying he has immunity, but we also don't know what an official act is. The court said a president is absolutely immune from actions in his core constitutional authority, which includes activities such as granting pardons, appointing cabinet officials, engaging in foreign relations, and acting as commander-in-chief.
Yeah.
So in other words, if you're the president and you're like, we need to invade Mexico or whatever,
Right.
then it can't be prosecuted for that.
Yeah.
But what's not an official action? Well, a court could determine that some conduct such as campaign speech or fundraising constitutes an unofficial act, which there is no immunity for. But a court would need to decide that. Some kind of...
So...
Basically, we don't know.
They don't know.
We don't know. And they're throwing it back down to the lower courts to decide.
Yeah, and they never got anything wrong.
Yeah, the lower courts also stacked. Now, what did the dissenting judges say?
Well, let's hear it. Sonia Sotomayor.
The court's...
There's like two now.
There's three.
Three.
And they're like 78.
Three.
And
So there's going to be zero.
There's going to be zero. The three liberal justices are like 78. And the 6 Republicans are like 41.
Yeah.
They're like 40 years old.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's crazy. The court's liberal dissenters were outraged. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, joined by Justice Elena Kagan and Kenaji Brown Jackson.
She's younger.
She's younger. She's like 60.
Yeah.
Said the majority opinion makes a mockery of the commonly held principle that no one is above the law. Quote, in every use of...
I mean, that's never been true, though.
Yeah, that has never been true. Yeah.
It's just something we
also,
say.
Also, rich people above the law. Yeah,
It's just something we say.
Famously above
and,
the law.
We don't think about it at all.
Yeah, exactly. But now we know that it's true that they're not.
Right.
Quote, in every use of official power, the president is now king above the law, Sonia Sotomayor wrote. Beyond Trump's criminal case related to the election, she said the ruling would have stark long-term consequences. This majority's project will have disastrous consequences for the presidency and for our democracy. In her own dissent, Jackson described the ruling as overtly vague, saying it makes it nearly impossible to know when and under what circumstances a president can be held accountable for crimes. The majority, she said, has broken dangerous new ground. So I think that's the biggest problem is they kind of made it really vague. And so, yeah, basically the president could do kind of whatever they want, though. So
You know what? Fuck it. Why not?
Right in time for the... yeah.
Let him do it. Who cares anymore?
Why isn't Biden, with his lead slipping away...
Well, that's the thing during the debate, and we'll talk about the debate in a second. He was like, they're talking about abortion, and then he's like,
slam dunk.
When I'm in charge, I'll make Roe v. Wade the law of the land. It's like, you're in charge now.
He said, when I'm in charge.
Yeah. When I'm reelected, you can do something now, probably. I don't know.
No, they have to pass a law, which they can't. They never have. They never will.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
The last law we passed was like no child left behind before 9/11. Maybe the Patriot Act, but I couldn't name a single law in the last 20 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe Obamacare.
Yeah.
But that they fucking raped and dismantled. Fucking took they octuied on that one. Yeah, they unfunded it and fucking fucked it in its ass. Now if you sign up for it, you get shot in the head. Somebody comes to your house and fucking blows your brains out. Yeah. It's still there, but it's like completely...
Yeah,
it's just like...
It's kind of all for naught.
It's been drawn and quartered.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Trump and the debate and Biden, this is from the Wall Street Journal.
Oh.
Quote, old and frail. Voters sound alarm over debate.
Interesting.
Voters with an outsized say in deciding elections are feeling a mix of frustration and concern after the first presidential debate of the 2024 election, with some concluding that President Biden's unsteady performance, that's generous, calling it unsteady, raised serious questions about whether he is capable of serving another term. In interviews, Americans in battleground states who weren't yet committed to a candidate expressed alarm to varying degrees over Biden's performance. Some said they were withholding judgment about whether he would get their vote until the next debate. The sequel, always better.
Well, you'd think in the next debate, I mean, how could you not, if you're Biden's team, fucking pour Adderall in his coffee, inject him with steroids,
right?
Give him Viagra, Blue Chew, whatever you gotta do.
Yeah.
Fucking splash some cold water in his face and put a fucking anal vibrator up his ass for every time he falls asleep to sound that thing off.
Right, exactly. I want him walking out there with a rock hard cock.
Did you see him at the State of the Union?
The State of the Union?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
He was actually like, they thought that they must have given him something because he was out there for like an hour and he was like, we're going to fucking bring back the country. And he was like talking shit on Trump, and he didn't say a single thing wrong. He was making jokes, and he was slam dunking, and he was strong and big, and he had a fucking rock hard erection tucked into his belt. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And Kamala was drenched behind him. Drenched.
Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah, you remember when she was drenched?
I remember.
Yeah, she was drenched.
Yeah, she was fucking soaking wet.
So was I. And
she had to go back and change her
that guy
pantsuit.
back. Yeah, exactly.
They must have, the drug cocktail, they must have been off.
Well, yeah, they must have grabbed the wrong coffee.
The wrong.
It's like that scene from The Princess Bride where it's the wrong one.
Right. Yeah, they fucked up. So one thing's for sure.
Somebody fucked up. Somebody's walking about there going, "Oh no, oh no!"
So they talked to the Wall Street Journal. Talked to a few people, got their thoughts on the debate.
So what? They just talked to fucking random guys in fucking diners in Milwaukee.
It doesn't say how they found them, but
they're always like Bob Carl, who's a truck driver.
Well, the first one is a lady. Lauren Floyd, 38. She's an accountant in Cobb County, Georgia.
Well, if she's not going to vote for him, I don't know who is.
Well, she's her political affiliation is a Republican, but she often votes for Democrats. She voted for
what does that even mean?
For Biden in 2020.
Huh.
And she's leaning Biden now in 2024. While Floyd says she would never vote for Trump, sitting down for Thursday's debate gave her, quote, immediate PTSD. By the way, PTSD used to have an actual meaning.
yeah, I was going to say. Because I was over here like, PTSD to what?
Well, apparently, just watching the debate gave her PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
He used to go to have to fight in the Vietnam War.
Yeah, you used to have to be a World War I vet. Yeah. And come home and...
Now you just turn on CNN. You're traumatized.
People used to get PTSD, come home, never say a fucking word about it.
Right.
They just throw their beer bottle against the wall and freak out on people. Guy's clearly traumatized, but he would never admit that.
That's how they introduce themselves. I'm Lauren, PTSD.
Yeah,
I go to list off all their mental illnesses.
I go to my team call and work, and Lauren, PTSD,
PTSD, OCD,
personality disorder,
slight ADHD. So
yeah,
they them. Nice to meet you. Biden, quote, Biden really dropped the ball. Floyd said he had so many opportunities to respond and address the lies that Trump was spouting, and he could not do it. Floyd had gone into the debate already feeling wary of Biden due to his age and his position on the war in Gaza. But last night, she said, was a whole other feeling I don't even know how to describe. And we kind of felt that way, too. We watched the debate after our friend Daniel Chase, friend of the show, welcome anytime, birthday party. Yeah. We watched the debate.
Hey, we thought cheers to Daniel.
To Daniel.
To Daniel. But yeah, we were watching it, and it was...
And we thought we were going to make jokes and laugh, but then we kind of ended up looking like Biden. Our mouths were agape.
Yeah. It's weird when it's so bad that you can't even, like... It was just a pit in my stomach. Yeah. I can't even describe how bad it was.
It was just sad.
We also saw the part where he lost track of what he was thinking.
Yeah.
And petered out and mumbled something about Medicaid. And
yeah.
Honestly, Trump could have been way meaner given his track record.
He really went easy on him.
He could have gone cutthroat, but he didn't need to.
He didn't need to. It would have been like
and watch.
Fucking beating a dead dog.
It would have been crazy. It would have felt mean.
Yeah, it would have felt mean.
Oh, if he would have given into his lower impulses. Yeah, I think the people would be saying a different thing right now.
I think so, but he played it perfectly. You'd hate to say it.
You'd hate to say it.
She was particularly bothered by Biden's inability to push back on Trump's false claims on abortion, which we talked about. This is Vincent Langower. He's 22. He's a college student, Milwaukee. Liberal. Voted for Biden in 2020. Voted for Biden. Planning to vote for Biden again.
Okay.
If he makes it to the
22. Liberal. Voted for Biden. Voting for him again.
Biden, quote, Biden looked old and frail, especially in the beginning, Langower said. He thought the president improved as the debate went on, but still performed poorly overall. Quote, as for Trump, he was completely vapid when it came to policy, and he again showed his lack of knowledge and his infantile views on complex issues, and he lied constantly, as usual. Biden had more substance, but it was harder to understand what he was saying.
I couldn't understand a fucking word he was saying.
One of the most important things as a president, be able to complete sentences.
I would think so, yeah. You're openly communicating clearly. Yeah.
No, you couldn't understand a single fucking
word.
word.
I couldn't hear anything he was saying. It was like muttering, spouting bullshit.
It was like he was whispering to himself.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Then finally, Marvin Schulman, he's 77, retired ophthalmologist.
Voted for Trump? Gonna vote for him again?
Well, he refused. He's from West Bloomfield, Michigan. Political affiliation, refused to give. But he said he voted for Biden in 2020, but now he's leaning Trump.
Oh, boy. He's going to lose Michigan, and if he loses Michigan, he loses the election, I think.
Schulman is among a small group of voters who haven't made up their minds about which candidate to support. Undecided.
You know what? I would argue that after that debate, that became a larger margin of people.
100%, yeah.
I think there's more undecided people now than there were before the debate.
Yeah.
The swing state voters maybe tripled.
Yeah, absolutely. But after watching parts of the debate Thursday evening, he's leaning towards Trump despite significant reservations about his character. Quote, Biden looked like a deer in headlights, Schulman said, expressing doubts about the president's fitness for office. Quote, I'm 77 years old, and I know what it feels like some days. Schulman said he would vote for a Democrat for president in November if they came up with a better candidate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, they were talking about doing that.
They were talking about doing that, but they're
not going to.
They're not going to.
They're not going to. But also, who would they put up there?
They got nobody.
Kamala?
No.
Give me a break.
She's losing a landslide.
Yeah. Gavin Newsom? I don't even know what that guy is.
Scumbag.
He's a scumbag.
Look at him. He's a scumbag. If you were to draw an evil politician, you would draw Gavin Newsom.
I know. It's crazy. What if he believes in nothing? He's a shill. You know he's not a shill. Mexico's strongman, soon-to-be former president.
Sure.
This is from the Wall Street Journal. Mexican president's long goodbye. Opponents worry the departing Lopez Obrador will be a boss behind the scenes.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, we've talked about the Mexican election recently. They elected their first female president.
Yes.
Set to take office in a few months. Sheinbaum. But many worry that she is one of Obrador's puppets.
Oh, yes,
and that he will continue ruling Mexico from his beautiful retirement home in the south of Mexico.
Well, pay no heed to the man behind the curtain.
Dateline Mexico. Across the country this summer, departing President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador is holding what he calls a farewell tour.
Yeah.
Weekend rallies where supporters buy souvenir dolls in his likeness, wave placards, and chant his name. But investors and opponents worried he isn't simply passing the baton to his successor and protege, President-elect Claudia Sheinbaum, but will instead run the country from behind the scenes. Mexico's constitution bans presidential re-election. In early June, Sheinbaum won the presidency with almost 60% of the vote, which is considered a landslide.
Yes.
Lopez Obrador's ruling Morena Party coalition has enough seats in the lower house of Congress to make constitutional changes without opposition backing, and is 2 seats short of the needed 2/3 majority in the Senate. He appears to be setting Sheinbaum's initial agenda as he prepares to overhaul the Constitution before stepping down October 1st, political analysts say.
Everybody wants to overhaul their country's constitution.
You know, there's something in the air.
It's not just something in the air.
I think it's time for it. Yeah. Let's overhaul it, and let's do it in the scariest way we can. Sheinbaum has signed on to Lopez Obrador's proposed constitutional changes. She flies coach to meet up with the president on these weekend jaunts for briefings on progress advancing his agenda. Yeah, why coach? I don't understand. Well, she's a man. She's a woman of the people. She's a woman of the people. Last week, Lopez Obrador and Sheinbaum took their road show to Huatulco, a Pacific Coast resort town where about 4,000 ecstatic supporters crowded a huge tent. Some had waited since before dawn. Quote, I will retire in 3 months. He shouted as the crowd clapped and implored him to stay, yelling, "No!" They love this guy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Quote, he yelled this to the crowd, which is crazy to me. "I have no desire to be a strong man. I don't aspire to rule from afar," he yelled.
And we know if you have to say it out loud, you mean it.
Yeah. If you have to yell that at a crowd of people, no, I'm not going to be a strong man. I have no intention to rule from afar. They go, boo. Rule from afar.
Strong man. Strong man.
Strong man. Strong man. People want a strong man. Quote,
They do on a strong
they
man.
do. Yeah.
Everybody. I mean, every
It's our
country.
base instincts to have a strong leader.
Yeah.
And, to make
I
us...
guess it makes sense. You don't want a weak leader.
Personally, I like Gavin Newsom. And I want a weak, spineless coward to be the president. Many doubt that he is headed for a quiet retirement. Lopez Obrador is known as a polarizing leader with an authoritarian streak who has concentrated power in the presidency. The opposition and some investors fear he might turn his new home office that could overshadow that of Scheinbaum, whose career he has shepherded over the past 2 decades.
He's working from home. He's decided to work from home.
He decided he's going to work remote. I'm the president, and you can't really be there anymore based on the Constitution that he's planning to change. Lopez Obrador cobbled together the Marina Party, formerly the Movement of the National Regeneration, in 2014. Marina isn't exactly a party, but a political movement created by Lopez Obrador to become president.
Uh-huh.
So he created his own political party for the purpose of becoming president, and now they're pretty much ruling. Quote, "We are certainly in the territory of a single-party rule.
Wow.
And this time, it's all based on Lopez Obrador," said Duncan Wood, a Mexican expert with the Wilson Center. Well, Mexican expert.
Duncan Wood, Mexican expert.
Expert on all things Mexico. That would be guacamole.
That, my friend, is a Mexican Coke.
And this must be the margarita.
With salted rim.
With salted rim. I'm an expert on Mexico.
Duncan Wood, whitest name in America.
Yeah, for real. What a fucking wasp.
Yeah.
Well, last week, Scheinbaum made public the results of 3 Marina Commission polls showing that Mexicans overwhelmingly support Lopez Obrador's plan to have the people elect the nation's judges, including for their Supreme Court. Critics fear that Marina's vast political power will allow it to capture the entire judicial branch, putting Mexico's democracy at risk.
Wow.
So this is actually genius of them, from the perspective of like a authoritarian power grab, because you say we shouldn't appoint the justices,
Right.
and the Senate and the House shouldn't vote on that.
Yeah.
You should vote for the justices.
Sure.
And then it's like we have a 75% like approval rating, and then we'll do a flash election for every judge in the country.
Yeah.
And just, he'll be holding up the hand of the guy he wants in there, and then they'll vote for all those guys.
Right.
And then they'll change the Constitution that you can never appoint a new judge.
Yeah.
And then,
wow.
So, yeah. But some real fun stuff happening in Mexico and the United States right now.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Well, here's some even worse news. They say it's worse. I don't know. I could go either way. This is happening around the world.
Oh no!
This is from the Wall Street Journal. Headline: There aren't enough babies, alarming the whole world.
Alarming the whole world.
Yeah,
that's a funny thing to say. Like, how could the whole world be alarmed?
Well, it is.
That just hit me.
Falling birth rates bring economic, social, political implications. The world is at a startling demographic milestone. Sometime soon, the global fertility rate will drop below the point needed to keep population constant.
No, I think it's the Wi-Fi.
You think it's the Wi-Fi?
It might be the Wi-Fi.
You think people...
Kennedy said it's the Wi-Fi.
Oh, they're making people infertile.
Making us infertile. Something is. Why is the fertility rate dropping?
Well...
The food?
I think...
The air could be the pollution.
What we could weigh in now, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think people are... I don't think it's about being infertile. I think people aren't choosing to have children now.
Well, but it's also true that we are less fertile than we used to be.
Yeah.
So it's harder to make babies than it used to be.
It's a lethal combination.
It's a lethal. We don't want to have them. We're like panda bears. We don't want to have them, and even if we try, didn't work. So
Right.
why don't we just eat bamboo and fucking...
Now, I tend to maybe agree, maybe with Kennedy. It can't be good to have your cell phone directly next to your
I agree.
testicles.
I also think that it's not all the signals bouncing around everywhere. I call me a conspiracy theorist, but all I'm saying is that there's probably some effect.
Right, yeah.
And then if you say that there's any effect at all, people go, what are you, fucking
crazy?
red pilled?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. There's just a lot of
No,
technology.
you're right. I trust Verizon.
Yeah, I want Verizon to put a piece of hardware 3 inches from my fucking cock.
Yeah. It's I don't ever
My nutsack. Yeah, Verizon.
I don't
needs
know
to
why
be
that
the-
makes you a conspiracy theorist, but
Anyway, I'm voting for Kennedy.
yeah, I am too. So it'll drop below the point needed to keep the population constant. It may have already happened.
My God.
Fertility is falling almost.
We need to do another census to know.
Fertility is falling almost everywhere for women across all levels of income, education, and labor force participation. Some estimates now put the number of babies each woman has over her lifetime below the global replacement rate of about 2.2. The falling birth rates come with huge implications for the way people live, how economies grow, and the standings of the world's superpowers.
Right.
The baby bust is happening so quickly and so widely that it's taken many by surprise. In high-income nations, fertility fell below replacement in the 1970s and took a leg down during the pandemic. It's dropping in developing countries, too. India surpassed China as the most populous country last year, yet its fertility is now below replacement.
Well, they don't really need to replace the whole country. Why is this bad?
I don't really know either.
Because we have a runaway population problem.
Right.
That the population of the entire world was 1 billion in the year 1800, and now it's 8 billion.
Right.
Is that concerning to anybody?
It should be. That's what I think. It's concerning to me.
Yeah, it took 500,000 years to get to 1 billion, and then another 120 years to get to eightfold that.
Yeah.
And they go, oh no!
Yeah.
There's a 1% dip.
Well, yeah. I don't understand why everybody wants everything to grow exponentially forever.
Well, yeah, that can't.
It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable for businesses or populations
Right.
or for anybody.
Yeah.
That's somehow the way we've built all of our economies and everything.
Right.
But truly, that can't. I mean, look at what it's
can't
doing
happen.
to the planet.
Right.
We're sucking everything out of the planet.
Yeah.
It's gasping for breath.
Yeah.
We go more coal,
More now.
double the oil, double the babies. Why?
Well,
So the stocks don't dip.
yeah. It's all about the economy.
Up is good, down is bad. We just decided that. We just arbitrarily decided that.
Right. Yeah.
Down could be fine.
It could be fine. It could be great.
It could be great. It could be really good. Really good.
Less people on the beach. I mean, what could be wrong?
Yeah.
Quote, the demographic winter is coming, said Jesus Fernandez Villaverde.
Fan of Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Winter is coming. I like winter. Sue me. It's romantic.
It's romantic. Yeah.
I like the nice Christmas. I like the lights.
All right. So now what's going to happen because of this?
Well, there's a national urgency among many government leaders. They worry about shrinking workforces, slowing economic growth, and underfunded pensions, and the vitality of a society with ever fewer children. So, pensions, people aren't paying into the pension. You can't pay out.
They go, oh no, the world population's dipping. The pensions. Give me a break.
and there are people having less children, so they can't take care of their old parents anymore. That's their main concerns.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
again,
die. Just fucking die.
Just fucking die.
Die
I'm tired
broke and penniless.
of the baby boomers. I mean, it just because you tripled the global population in a 10-year window in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
You wanted a baby boom permanently? You want them to have... I mean, it's crazy.
Right.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
Sorry that the pensions aren't going to come in.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm fucking crazy. It's a catastrophe. It's only good news. I mean,
Yeah,
convince me otherwise that it's not good news.
You
I
can't.
literally don't see how it's not good news.
I don't either. I've tried to wrap my head around it, you know.
It's also the lack of jobs. We're going to robots are going to have all the jobs anyway.
Right. everyone is like, let me try to find.
Most of the babies they're talking about too have lived. The people having the most babies forever they're being born into poverty and they're living their whole lives in poverty.
Yeah, poor people have all the most children.
Yeah, and they're going.
Even in the United
This
States.
is terrible because they're not going to be able to make $1 pencils in a factory. I don't know. I mean, you're mad that there's not going to be trillions of babies born into poverty in India,
Right.
in India and Africa.
Right. There's not gonna be anybody to wipe my ass when I'm 85 and knocking on death's door.
Right.
So
Just get a cyborg.
Right, but they also people don't understand. All these experts, they don't understand why people aren't having children, which to me is like the most easily explained thing in the world. There's no hope for the future.
Well, I also think it's this too. This is the biggest part of it.
Yeah.
For like all of human history, having babies was an economic benefit to you because everyone on Earth was a farmer up until 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And so literally, like even like politicians were farmers.
Right.
Like 200 years ago.
Right.
Like the first presidents were.
Yeah.
So if you have kids, they can run the farm.
Right.
And then
Man the plow.
And then you literally are more profitable with kids.
Sure.
But now having any kid at all is a huge financial.
Yeah.
It costs. It's all money. It definitely comes down to money.
Yeah.
It costs money to have kids now. It used to benefit you to have kids.
Exactly. Well, we'll get into this in a second. But in research published in 2021, the University of Maryland, they look for possible explanations for the continued drop. They found that state-level differences in parental abortion notification laws, unemployment, Medicaid availability, housing costs, contraceptive usage, religiosity, child care costs, and student debt could explain almost none of the decline. So all those things explain none of it.
Right.
So they looked into it. They did studies. They go, we got nothing.
I think they're looking too closely. I think you need to take a wider shot.
Yeah. We suspect that this shift reflects broad societal changes that are hard to measure or quantify, they conclude. They also said, while raising children is no more expensive than before, parents' preferences and perceived constraints have changed. Quote, if people have a preference for spending time building a career on leisure, relationships, outside the home...
I mean, how could they say that it's no more expensive than before?
Yeah.
Putting a child through daycare...
Yeah, I don't know how...
In preschool, it's $35,000 a year. That's like what's my old salary at Legoland.
Right.
Is to put what they're paying to put my niece through preschool.
Yeah, I don't know how they say
annually.
that. It doesn't make
If you're in the 50s and have a baby... There's no daycare you're paying the preschool you're paying for.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what? It's like so much more expensive now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't even know. They don't say why it's not more expensive. It is something they say.
It's insane.
Meanwhile, time use data show that mothers and fathers, especially those that are highly educated, spend more time with their children than in the past. Quote, the intensity of parenting is a constraint. So, spending time with your child, they go, we don't want to do that. It's too much.
Well, no, they're saying now people spend more time with their children.
Yeah.
And so therefore you're having less children because it used to be you'd have 8 children and you wouldn't even know their names.
Right.
And
you'd let them roam.
You'd let them go. And then you know.
Right.
But now you have one and he's fucking, you're driving him to therapy when he's 4 years old. You're driving him from soccer practice to therapy to the young Nobel baccalaureates convention and swim practice.
Yeah. Well, the governments around the world, they're trying to get the fertility rate up, their birthing rate up. Governments have tried to reverse the fall.
Governments have been having sex with
new policies, pro-natalist policies, they're calling them. Perhaps no country has been trying longer than Japan. After fertility fell to 1.5 in the early 1990s, the government rolled out a succession of plans that included parental leave and subsidized childcare. Fertility kept falling. In 2005, Kuniko Inoguchi was appointed the country's first minister responsible for gender equality and birth rate. The main obstacle, she declared, was money. People couldn't afford to get married or have children. Japan made hospital maternity care free and introduced a stipend paid upon birth of the child. Japan's fertility rate climbed to 1.26 in 2005. Climbed from 1.26 in 2005 to 1.45 in 2015. But then it started declining again, and in 2022, it was back to 1.26.
Yeah.
This year, Prime Minister Kishida rolled out yet another program to increase births that extends monthly allowances to all children under 18 regardless of income, free college for families with 3 children, and fully paid parental leave. Inaguchi, now a member of Parliament's upper house, said the constraint on would-be parents is no longer money, but time. She has pressed the government and business to adopt a 4-day work week. She said if you're a government official or manager of a big corporation, you should not worry over questions of salary now, but that in 20 years' time, you will have no customers, no clients, no applicants to the self-defense forces.
When I was a kid, I had no quality time with my parents. I had maybe 2 days a year. My dad would take us camping.
Yeah.
We'd have a camp trip with my pop, go fishing with my pop in the summer.
Yeah.
And then on Easter, my mom would dye Easter eggs with us. The rest of the year, we were in front of the fucking TV.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Or we were running around outside.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't need to spend time with the kids anymore.
No, it's wildly overrated. It does more harm than good.
They prove that it does more harm than good to be over involved in your kid's life. It's also what a bore for you. What are you talking about? Yeah. What's your favorite color? I mean, give me a break.
All right.
Nobody, who wants to know about that? Just throw them in front of the TV.
Yeah.
But put them as close as their face can get to the TV. I mean, I'm talking like a quarter inch away.
Right.
And
the
then,
TV, but it has to be the TV. The tablet is even worse.
Yes.
It's got to be the TV.
Well, it's to blame cable. Cable's dead.
Cable's dead.
And now they got all these tablet kids running around with tablets.
Yeah. The TV, you learn how to talk to people. You're watching people talk.
You're watching people talk. Also, what about this? The TV, you know exactly where your kid is because the TV doesn't move.
The TV doesn't
You give them
move.
a tablet, they're fucking right. You have to follow them with the tablet,
right?
To see where they're going.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't go do your job and stuff while the kid's in front of the TV.
Right. And you can look up anything on the tablet. The TV.
Yeah,
the
she's
worst
racing
thing
around
you can
the
see
house,
is Jerry Springer.
looking up beheading videos on YouTube.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He used to be in front of the TV watching Barney.
Right.
And now she's on top of the roof watching a beheading.
She's on top of the roof watching some YouTuber say, jump.
Yeah, so it's harder to raise a kid now.
Yeah.
Because of tablets. It's Steve Jobs' fault.
It's Steve Jobs.
The tablet. Put it back on the fucking wall.
Yeah, rest in
Where
hell.
it belongs.
You fucking scumbag.
Yeah.
Hungarian.
He is burning in hell.
Yeah. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban has pushed one of Europe's most ambitious natality agendas, natologically speaking. Last year, he expanded tax benefits for mothers so that women under the age of 30 who have a child are exempt from paying personal income tax for life.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Between my kids getting free college, me not paying income tax. If they do the 4-day work week, I'm moving to Japan. Yeah.
This was from Hungary.
Oh.
Yeah.
Even better.
Right. That's on top of housing and child care subsidies, as well as generous maternity leaves. Hungary's fertility rate, though still well below replacement, has risen since 2010, but the Vienna Institute of Demography attributed this primarily to women delaying childbirth because of a debt crisis that hit around 2010. Adjusted for that, fertility has risen only slightly, it concluded, even with all this.
Is it such a bad thing if the population decreases? There's more homes, better homes for sale.
Right.
There's less competition in the workforce. You can get the job you want. What's the big deal? And then you have robots take care of all the shit you don't want to do. All the jobs you wanted to replace in the factories.
Yeah.
Fucking AI it.
Right.
I don't understand.
I guess the question is with AI and stuff, how are people, when nobody has a job, how are people paying their bills?
Well, there'll be less people, so they'll all take the 4 jobs that are left.
I guess so.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think it's better if there's less people.
You're right. I agree with you.
All of them are going to get displaced by technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with no reversal in birth rates inside the economic pressures are intensifying. This is what their concerns are. Since the pandemic, labor shortages have become endemic throughout developed countries. That will only worsen in coming years as the post-crisis fall in birth rates yields an ever-shrinking inflow of young workers, placing more strain on healthcare and retirement systems. So it's all the jobs. They're worried about the jobs and taking care of old people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not so much that the population is decreasing, right, is that there's going to be way less young people than there are old people.
Yeah.
Which is annoying because we have to deal with them.
Right. We have to.
And with the medicine, they'll never die. They're going to live way longer than the last generation did.
You know what? A company a business that's going to be in complete decline, skateboarding with no young people.
What will they do? What will they do? And with those people out there, I mean, companies like this next one we're going to hear about,
ooh,
I think everybody's going to get hit.
Uh-oh.
But some people are taking matters into their own hands to make sure that the bottom line doesn't get touched.
Don't fuck with that bottom line.
Do not fuck with the bottom line. This is our final story today on Echo Chamber, and it is from the Wall Street Journal. Headline, labor abuses linked to luxury bag brands. Oh. No. A series of raids in Italy has exposed... something about this story is funny to me, just that it's in Italy. The fact that it's in Italy and that it's not like in a third world country in Asia is...
Right. A
series of raids in Italy has exposed the contrast between the glamorous world of Milan's catwalks and some of the realities of luxury good production. An investigation by Milan prosecutors into working conditions at local factories found workshops making handbags and other leather goods for Dior and Armani used exploited foreign labor to produce high-end products at a fraction of their retail price.
Oh, no.
Dior paid a supplier €53 a piece, roughly $57, to assemble a handbag that it sells in stores for 2,600 euros. According to documents examined as part of the probe. Armani bags, meanwhile, were sold to a supplier for 93 euros and then resold to Armani for 250 euros and ultimately priced at around 1,800 euros in stores.
Jesus Christ.
The probe found. The cost prices don't include the leather or raw materials. That doesn't even include the cost of the raw materials. So if you take that away from it, it's like they're paying like dollars per bag for labor, selling them for like $3,000. So the question becomes, why does it cost so little to manufacture the product? While Fabio Roya, president of Milan's court system, asked that question, which has overseen the probe. Quote, the brands need to ask themselves this question. The Italian investigation highlights a distinctly modern issue in the luxury industry. While other sectors have moved manufacturing to China and other low-wage countries, many luxury brands kept production closer to home, believing it was crucial to have their appeal. But despite being stamped with the Made in Italy label, prosecutors alleged that some luxury goods are made by foreign workers, many of whom are Chinese, under conditions that fall far short of legal standards. So instead of outsourcing production to China, they had this breakthrough realization, just bring the Chinese here.
Wow.
Treat them like they're still in China, put them in a warehouse and stamp made in fucking Italy.
Wow.
And sell it.
That's wild.
It's wild. That's what they're doing now.
Yeah.
So when you see another thing that says made in America, give it a... think again. Maybe it is.
Right.
But is it made by an American?
Chances are probably not.
No, probably not.
Nobody wants to work anymore.
Well, let's hear about what the conditions were like for these people.
Yeah.
Inspections by Italian police in March and April found workers subject to, quote, hygiene and health conditions that are below the minimum required by an ethical approach.
Ugh.
Workers often operated machines from which safety devices had been removed to increase productivity.
That's wild.
Compromising safety, prosecutors said. Workers also lived, ate, and slept at the workshop.
Jesus Christ.
They kept them in the warehouses. Electricity consumption data indicated that employees typically worked from dawn until after 9 p.m., including on weekends and holidays.
Good God.
So they're working 365, going to sleep in the factory, and they're working from dawn till 10 p.m. at night.
Oh my God.
The court ruling against Armani lays out how one of its subsidiaries, GA Operations, hired 2 subcontractors, which in turn hire a number of Chinese-owned subcontractors in Italy. Investigators interviewed workers who said they were paid as little as €2 to €3 an hour to work long days. That wage is far lower than the level stipulated by the collective bargaining agreement covering the sector. Fabio Becceri, marketing executive, this is insane to me. A marketing executive who previously worked for Gucci and its owner Kering for almost 20 years, said consumers are increasingly well informed and that the use of allegedly unethical labor practices to make high-end items could be a turnoff for them. It's also just wrong. That ever crossed your head?
Yeah.
It's not just the fact that it could be a turnoff.
Well, it's a bit of a turnoff.
It's a bit of a turnoff. So it's a fucking scumbag.
It's wrong. Yeah.
It's a terrible thing to
horrendous.
do. Quote, the consumer expectation is really high, especially when you are increasing the price so aggressively.
It's very high. I have high expectations not that my workers want to kill themselves every waking hour.
Yeah. This is like made by a guy sleeping on a factory floor.
Jeez.
Quite literally.
Wow.
Well,
but at least they get to live in Italy.
Oh,
beautiful.
Beautiful. Oh, Milan in the summer.
Oh, Milan.
From what you can see it between the hours of 10 p.m. and midnight. And then it's lights out.
From your windowless factory.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, they're scumbags, and everyone in the company should be shot in the head. Yeah, well, anyway, that was...
Good to end on an uplifting note.
That's right. This maybe wasn't the most uplifting episode. But we had fun, as we always do. We always try to find a way to have fun, and we do think everything is going to work out.
Yeah. We're nothing if not optimistic.
I'm an optimist. Sue me.
Sue me.
I refuse to fall into despair.
Well, that just about wraps it up for this episode of Echo Chamber with Joe and Trent.
That's right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow the podcast.
Yeah, all that shit. As always, this is Trent Mabry signing out.
And this is Joe Nunnink signing off.
Oh,
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.